Hello students, I am Dr. Gayatri, Assistant Professor at Smriti College of Pharmaceutical Education, Indore. In our previous video lecture, we have seen about different anatomical terminology that is used for various body positions, regional terms and different planes and sections. In our today's class, we will look at the remaining anatomical terminology. So the first is directional terms. So the word direction itself represents what this would mean. So directional terms are used to locate various body structures, that is in which direction the body structures are present. But then these directional terms always exist in pairs. Pair matlab either for example anterior, posterior or superior and inferior, like that. These directional terms always exist in pairs. Along with that, these directional terms, if we see, they only make sense if we understand them in relation to another part of the body. That is, for example, if I say that neck is superior, will that make any sense? No. We will be able to understand that neck is superior only if we understand in relation to which part of the body we are talking about. Like if we are talking about, just if I say neck is superior, neck is probably superior to the lower part of the body or to the trunk of the body, but then neck is definitely inferior to the head, right? Below the head. Like that, in order to understand what these terminologies mean, they always are, they are in terms, they should be expressed in terms of other body part. That is, if we see, it is important to understand that directional terms have relative meaning. So they make sense only when they are used to describe the position of one structure relative to another or in relation to another. So in the same example, if I say neck is superior to the trunk of the body, that is a true statement and we will be able to understand in relation to what we are talking. So neck is superior to the lower part of the body or the trunk of the body. So in that way, these directional terms are always relative in meaning. So yeah, another example can be knee is superior to the ankle. So ankle is in the lowest part of the of our legs. So if I say knee is superior to the ankle, that is a right statement. Whereas both knee and ankle are located in the inferior half of the body, that is lower half of the body, right? So in that way, these directional terms are always used in pairs, and also they are used in terms of their relation, the relation of one body structure with another body structure. Different directional terms include superior, which means toward the head or upper part of a structure. So if I say superior, it means either toward the head or upper part of a specific structure. So example is the heart is superior to the liver. Next is inferior. Inferior means away from the head or lower part of a structure. Example is stomach is inferior to the lungs. So if you can see the examples here, they are always in terms of one body part in relation to the other body part. इसलिए हम लोगों को ये जो डायरेक्शनल टर्म्स है, ये हमेशा एक पार्ट के रिलेशन में दूसरे पार्ट किस डायरेक्शन में है उसके हिसाब से ही इसको डिस्क्राइब किया जाता है. सो अगर यहाँ पे हार्ट इज सुपीरियर टू द लिवर, सो लिवर के ऊपर की तरफ हार्ट है. सो इसलिए ये डायरेक्शनल टर्म्स जो है ये हमेशा डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए एक पार्ट को दूसरे पार्ट के हिसाब से ये डायरेक्शनल टर्म्स यूज किए जाते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज एंटीरियर. एंटीरियर इज the front side. So nearer to or at the front of the body. Example is the sternum, that is the breastbone, is anterior to the heart. Next is posterior. Posterior means near to or at the back of the body. Example, the esophagus, that is the food pipe, is posterior to trachea, that is the windpipe. Next is medial. Medial means nearer to the midline. So midline is nothing but an imaginary vertical line that divides the body into equal right and left side. So medial means nearer to that midline. So example is ulna is medial to the radius. Next is lateral. Lateral is farther from the midline or far away from the midline. Example is lungs are lateral to the heart. So heart is in the middle and then lungs are on either side of the heart. So lungs are lateral to the heart. So we will see a diagrammatic explanation of this in the next slide. Then you will be able to understand these terminologies more clearly. Next is intermediate. Intermediate is between two structures. Example is the transverse colon is intermediate to ascending and descending colons. So intermediate is nothing but this particular part or structure is present between two structures. So that is called intermediate. Next is ipsilateral. Ipsilateral is on the same side of the body as another structure. So example we can understand is gallbladder and ascending colon are ipsilateral. That means they are same side of the body as the another structure. That means they both are on the same side. Next is contralateral. Contralateral is on the opposite side of the body from another structure. So if one structure is on the right, the other structure is on the left side. Example is ascending and descending colons are contralateral. Next is proximal. Proximal means nearer to the attachment of a limb to the trunk or nearer to the origination of a structure. So near the attachment between where the limb attaches the trunk or nearer to the origin of a structure. So if a particular structure is starting from some particular place, nearer to that place is called proximal. Example is the humerus, that is nothing but arm bone, is proximal to the radius. Next is distal. Distal means farther away from the, so it's like these, proximal and distal are opposite terms again. So proximal is nearer to the attachment and distal is away from the attachment. So if we say this can be called proximal and these fingers can be called distal. So that is the example of this. So distal is nothing but farther from the attachment of a limb to the trunk or farther from the origination of a structure. Example, the phalanges, that is the finger bones, are distal to the carpals, that is wrist bones. So these are the wrist bones and these are the finger bones. So to the wrist bones, these are away from the attachment side, right? So this is distal side. The finger bones are on the distal side of the wrist bones. Next is superficial. Superficial is towards or on the surface of the body. Example is the ribs are superficial to lungs. We know that the ribs are present on top, covering the lungs and the heart. All these organs come behind the lips. So the ribs are on the superficial side. Next is deep. Deep and superficial are also opposites, right? Deep is, if superficial is near to the surface, what does deep will be? Deep will be away from the surface of the body. Example is the ribs are deep to the skin of the chest and back. So we know that the ribs are between the skin and the skin of the chest and of the back. So if we have a close look at these terminologies, they are always opposite to each other. जैसे हम लोग अगर देखेंगे सुपीरियर है ऊपर, इंफीरियर है पीछे, एंटीरियर आगे, पोस्टीरियर मतलब पीछे, एंड मीडियल सेंटर में, लेटरल साइड्स में, इंटरमीडिएट मतलब दो स्ट्रक्चर्स के बीच में, एंड इप्सिलेटरल मतलब सेम साइड में, कॉन्ट्रालेटरल ऑपोजिट साइड्स, एंड प्रॉक्सिमल मतलब नियर टू द अटैचमेंट, एंड डिस्टल मतलब अवे फ्रॉम द अटैचमेंट, सुपरफिशियल मतलब सरफेस के पास, एंड देन डीप मतलब सरफेस से दूर. So all these terms if we see they exist in opposite pairs. See, if we look at this diagram, we can clearly understand how these directional terms are used. So this is the midline. So this is what will this be called? This will be called medial. And then on the sides of the medial is lateral. On the sides of the medial is called lateral. So this is lateral. This is also lateral. And the upper side is called superior. So this is superior. So the head is in the superior portion. And the lower side is called inferior. So all this comes under inferior. And next, see, this is the attachment, right? So this is proximal side and this is distal side. So we have seen the example of phalanges, that is fingers. So fingers are on the distal side. So distal side of the wrist, distal side of the humerus, and then if we see humerus is on the proximal side when compared to the radius. So radius is here. So in humerus is here. So humerus is proximal, radius is distal. So this is how directional terms are used while describing the anatomy of a particular part of the body in relation to the other part. So if I just say that radius, अगर मैंने बोला है कि radius proximal side में है, वो समझ में आएगा क्या? नहीं, क्योंकि radius इस ह्यूमरस से कंपेयर करेंगे तो डिस्टल साइड में है, बट phalanges या फिंगर बोन्स से कंपेयर करेंगे तो प्रॉक्सिमल साइड में है. सो हमेशा इसलिए ये कंफ्यूजन को अवॉइड करने के लिए किस इन रिलेशन टू कौन से पार्ट वो भी बताना जरूरी होता है. सो इफ आई से रेडियस इज proximal when compared to the phalanges, it is true because phalanges are on the distal side and radius is on the proximal side. Next is body cavities. So what is a cavity? Cavity is any time an empty or hollow space. So what are body cavities? These are also spaces in the body. What they do? They protect, separate and support the internal organs. So what are the three things that cavities do? They provide, they protect, then they separate internal organs and they support internal organs. We will be able to understand this better as we learn about different cavities. So bones, muscles and ligaments and other structures separate various body cavities from one another. So each cavity is separated by bones, muscles, ligaments and other structures. So the first cavity is cranial cavity. Cranial cavity is nothing but formed by the cranial bones and contains brain. So यहाँ पे हमने देखा है कि cavities क्या होते हैं, ये spaces है और इस spaces में इंटरनल ऑर्गन्स होते हैं. सो ये इंटरनल ऑर्गन्स को प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं, एक ऑर्गन को दूसरे ऑर्गन से सेपरेट करते हैं और सपोर्ट भी प्रोवाइड करते हैं ये कैविटीज. सो क्रेनियल कैविटी क्या करता है? क्रेनियल कैविटी इज फॉर्म्ड बाय क्रेनियल बोन्स और इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ ब्रेन. नेक्स्ट इज वर्टिब्रल कैविटी. Vertebral cavity is formed by vertebral column and it contains spinal cord and the beginning of spinal nerves. So three protective layers or meninges line the cranial cavity and vertebral cavity. इसका मतलब क्या है? Vertebral cavity में basically vertebral column होता है, spinal cord होता है और ये जो spinal nerves है उनके beginning भी वर्टिब्रल कैविटी में ही होता है. और एक थ्री प्रोटेक्टिव लेयर्स और लेयर्स है जिनको मेनिंजेस भी बोलते हैं वो ये क्रेनियल कैविटी एंड वर्टिब्रल कैविटी को लाइन करते हैं, मतलब ऊपर से कवर करते हैं. So that is about cranial cavity and vertebral cavity. Next is thoracic cavity. Thoracic we have seen is about the chest region. So this is also called chest cavity. So it is formed by ribs. Basically chest cavity में क्या क्या आते हैं? All the organs that are present in thoracic region, right? So it contains ribs. It is formed by ribs, muscles of the chest, sternum that is breastbone, and the thoracic portion of vertebral column that is backbone. So इसमें क्या क्या होता है? It contains pleural and pericardial cavities and mediastinum. So basically pleural मतलब lungs and pericardial मतलब heart. So हम लोग अगर देखेंगे तो pleural cavity में क्या आता है? Each pleural cavity surrounds a lung. So lung को surround करता है एक pleural cavity. And then the serous membrane. Serous membrane क्या होता है? हम लोग आगे देखेंगे. So the serous membrane of the pleural cavity is the pleura that contains small amount of fluid. Next is pericardial cavity. Cardial मतलब heart. So it surrounds the heart. So the serous membrane is the fluid filled pericardium. So thoracic cavity में 3 cavities होते हैं: pleural cavity, pericardial cavity and mediastinum. Mediastinum क्या है? It is the central portion of the thoracic cavity between the lungs. Lungs के बीच में जो cavity है उसको बोलते हैं mediastinum. And it extends from sternum, that is the front portion, to the vertebral column, and from neck to diaphragm. Neck is on the anterior or superior side, and diaphragm is on the inferior side. So it is extending from anterior to posterior and superior to inferior. So that is what is mediastinum. So it is the central portion of thoracic cavity between the lungs. It extends from sternum to vertebral column and also from neck to diaphragm. So इसमें क्या क्या organs आते हैं? It contains heart, thymus, esophagus, trachea and several large blood vessels. So the diaphragm, what is diaphragm? Diaphragm is the dome-shaped muscle, right? We know that it is diaphragm is what expands and contracts when we breathe and all. So diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle that separates thoracic cavity from abdominal cavity. Thoracic cavity is on the superior side. Abdominal cavity is on the inferior side of diaphragm. So diaphragm is a muscle basically which is dome shaped like this. Its shape is like this, and it separates thoracic cavity from abdominal cavity. The next cavity is abdominopelvic cavity. So what does it contain? It contains abdominal cavity and also pelvic cavity. So where is it present? It extends from diaphragm to the groin and is encircled by abdominal wall and the bones and muscles of the pelvis. So ये basically it is present from diaphragm to the groin. Groin we have seen in the previous class, and it is encircled by the abdominal wall. मतलब उसको completely circle कर रहा है abdominal wall जो है, and the bones and muscles of pelvis. It is subdivided into 2 cavities: abdominal cavity and pelvic cavity. Abdominal cavity में क्या आता है? Contains stomach, spleen, liver, gallbladder, small intestine and most of the large intestine. And the serous membrane of abdominal cavity is peritoneum. Peritoneum is the name for the serous membrane of abdominal cavity. Next is pelvic cavity. Pelvic cavity, what does it contain? It is present in the pelvic region, right? So all the organs that come in the pelvic region come in pelvic cavity. That is urinary bladder, portions of large intestine and internal organs of reproduction, that is reproductive organs. So this is about abdominal and pelvic cavity, which is nothing but abdominopelvic cavity. So the organs inside the thoracic and abdominopelvic cavity are called viscera, or visceral organs. So the organs which are present in the last two cavities which we have seen, first thoracic cavity and then abdominopelvic cavity, all these organs together are called viscera or visceral organs. So we have been hearing the word serous membrane. What is serous membrane? It is a thin, slippery, double layered membrane. So it is thin, it is slippery and it is double layered. That covers the viscera. Viscera matlab all the organs present inside thoracic, abdominopelvic cavities, right? So it covers the viscera within thoracic and abdominal cavities and also lines the walls of thorax and abdomen. So basically the serous membrane is, it is thin, matlab patla, it is slippery, it is double layered, there are two layers and it covers viscera, that is the organs present inside thoracic and abdominopelvic cavity and also lines the walls of thorax and abdomen. So that is called serous membrane. So it is double layered, right? It has two layers, that is parietal layer and visceral layer. Parietal layer lines the walls of the cavities. That is, we have seen parietal pleura, that is in the lungs, parietal pericardium and parietal peritoneum. So parietal layer basically lines the walls of the cavities, whereas visceral layer, it covers and adheres to the viscera within the cavities, that is the organs present inside these cavities. So parietal layer is lining the walls of the cavity, whereas visceral layer, it is covering and adhering, that is sticking to the viscera, that is the organs within the cavities. Example, visceral pleura, visceral pericardium and visceral peritoneum. So serous fluid between the two layers. So between these two layers, certain fluid is present which is called serous fluid. So this serous fluid, it reduces friction and allows the viscera to slide somewhat during the movement, such as when the lungs inflate and deflate during breathing. So like when we are breathing, right? So when we take the air inside, our lungs expand, and then when we exhale, our lungs contract or come back to normal position. So what is allowing this movement? This movement is being allowed because the serous membrane has fluid between these two layers which reduces friction and it allows certain movement and it allows the viscera to slide. So because of which the organs are able to expand and contract. Example is lungs. So this is about serous membrane. Serous membrane is, it is thin, it is slippery, it has two layers and it covers the viscera within thoracic and abdominal cavities and also lines the walls of thorax and abdomen. So the parts of serous membrane are parietal layer and visceral layer. Parietal layer lines the walls of the cavities, whereas visceral layer, it covers and adheres to the viscera, that is organs present inside these cavities. So serous membrane, we can see it in which regions? In thorax and abdomen region, and it allows the movement, smooth movement of the organs. So there are certain organs present in our body that are located in between the parietal peritoneum, which is the covering of the wall, and the posterior abdominal wall. So these organs are present between the parietal peritoneum that is covering the wall, and the posterior abdominal wall. So these organs are called retroperitoneal organs. The word retro means behind. So that's why, क्योंकि ये organs पीछे की तरफ है, posterior side में है, पेरिटल पेरिटोनियम और पोस्टीरियर एब्डोमिनल वॉल के बीच में है, इसलिए इन ऑर्गन्स को रिट्रोपेरिटोनियल ऑर्गन्स कहते हैं. क्यों? रिट्रो का मतलब है बिहाइंड. सो बिकॉज दीज आर लोकेटेड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर पोजीशन, दे आर कॉल्ड रिट्रोपेरिटोनियल ऑर्गन्स. Example, all these organs come under retroperitoneal organs. They are kidneys, adrenal glands, pancreas, duodenum, ascending and descending colons, and portions of abdominal aorta and inferior vena cava. So all these organs are called retroperitoneal organs because they are present between the perital peritoneum and the posterior abdominal wall. If you see the structure of this, the exact location of these organs and also of the posterior abdominal wall, you will be able to clearly understand why they got this name retroperitoneal organs. So the other body cavities, the last set of body cavities are called other body cavities. These are minor body cavities. They include oral cavity. Oral मतलब mouth. So mouth में जो भी organs आते हैं, ये tongue, teeth, all that comes under oral cavity. Nasal cavity, nose, and in the nose, orbital cavities, that is eyeballs, and then middle ear cavities contain small bones of the middle ear. हमारे middle ear में small bones होते हैं, all those comes under middle ear, are present in middle ear cavities. And then synovial cavities. Synovial cavities are present between every movable joint and contain synovial fluid. So ये जो synovial cavities है, हर joint जो move होता है उनके बीच में होता है. So ये जो synovial fluid है, ये fluid के वजह से हमारे joints जो है freely move हो पाते हैं. So these are called synovial cavities. So these are the 5 different types of body cavities that are present in human body and the organs which are present in these cavities. In this picture we can clearly see where is each cavity of the body which I just described. So cranial cavity which contains brain, then vertebral cavity, you can see vertebral column, spinal cord, and beginning of spinal nerves. And then thoracic cavity in the thorax region, and then this is the diaphragm. This is present in this location. And then what is diaphragm doing? If you see clearly, it is separating the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. So this whole region is called abdominopelvic cavity because it's just one single cavity, but then it contains 2 different regions. This part comes under abdominal cavity and this part comes under pelvic cavity. So this is the anterior view of the same. So this is the abdominal cavity and this is the pelvic cavity. The next is abdominopelvic regions and quadrants. So abdominopelvic region contains both abdominal region as well as the pelvic region. So to describe the location of organs more easily, the abdominopelvic region cavity is divided into 9 regions because it is a very large region, right? A major portion of our body comes under this abdominopelvic region. So in order to understand the specific location of each organ more easily, this whole abdominopelvic cavity is divided into 9 separate regions. So we will look at what those regions are. First is right hypochondriac, epigastric, left hypochondriac, right lumbar, umbilical, left lumbar, right inguinal, or that is also called as iliac, hypogastric or pubic, and left inguinal or iliac. So we will see this what these 9 different regions are. So basically क्या है, ये abdominal pelvic region जैसे हमने देखा था बहुत ही बड़ा रीजन है. सो इस रीजन में अगर किसी ऑर्गन के बारे में डिस्क्राइब करना हो तो वो डिफिकल्ट है, राइट. तो उसको इजी बनाने के लिए क्या किया गया है, ये जो पूरा रीजन है उसको 9 सेपरेट रीजन्स में डिवाइड किए हैं. सो उसके वजह से कौन सा ऑर्गन कहाँ पे है और क्लियरली हम डिस्क्राइब कर सकते हैं. वो क्या है हम लोग अगले स्लाइड में एक इमेज के थ्रू देखेंगे. So the division of these areas is made by drawing 2 horizontal lines just inferior to the rib cage and the transtubercular line just inferior to the tops of the hip bones and 2 vertical lines left and right mid clavicular lines just medial to the nipples. So you will be able to understand what these lines are clearly in the next slide. So if we see, this is the whole abdominopelvic region, right? There are so many organs which are present in this region like liver, gallbladder, large intestine, and then in pelvic cavity we have seen reproductive organs are present, urinary organs are present, and small intestine, urinary bladder, stomach, all this comes under this region. So these are the 9 regions. So what the lines which we just heard about, they are these lines. This is a subcostal line, and then see the whole region is divided into 9, right? So how will we divide something into 9? They have to be 3 into 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the first one is right hypochondric. It is on the right side. Epigastric region, left hypochondric region, and then there is a line. Right lumbar region, umbilical region, left lumbar region, and then again there is a line. So this line is called subcostal line. This line is called transtubercular line, and these two lines are called mid-clavicular line. So one is on the right side and the other one is on the left side. This is what we just read. And then this is called right inguinal region or iliac, and then hypogastric region and left inguinal region. So these are the 9 separate regions into which the abdominopelvic cavity is divided. So this is about the quadrants which I will tell you now. So the abdominopelvic region is the whole cavity is divided into 9 separate regions, right? Along with that, the whole cavity is also divided into 4 quadrants. Quadrants or quarter is nothing but 1/4 of something, right? So if you consider a circle and then you divide it into 4 equal parts, each part is a quadrant, right? So in the same way, abdominopelvic cavity is also divided into 4 separate quadrants. How? By drawing a vertical line and also a horizontal line with the umbilicus or the belly button or the navel at the center. So these 4 quadrants are 2 on the right side and 2 on the left side. That is right upper quadrant, right lower quadrant, left upper quadrant and left lower quadrant. So these the region जो 9 रीजन का डिवीजन हमने देखा है वो कब यूज किया जाता है, कोई एनाटॉमिकल स्टडीज कर रहे हैं उसमें जो रीजन का डिवीजन है वो यूज किया जाता है. बट ये जो क्वाड्रेंट का डिवीजन है ये यूजुअली इट इज यूज्ड बाय क्लिनिशियंस फॉर डिस्क्राइबिंग अगर किसी को पेन है अब्डोमेन में. सो कहाँ पे एग्जैक्टली वो पेन है वो डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए दैट इज एब्डोमिनोपेल्विक पेन एंड ट्यूमर्स. अगर किसी को एब्डोमिनोपेल्विक रीजन में ट्यूमर है वो उसका एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन बताने के लिए क्वाड्रेंट्स का यूज किया जाता है. एंड अगर अबनॉर्मैलिटी कोई और अबनॉर्मैलिटीज है तो उसको डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए भी क्वाड्रेंट्स यूज किया जाता है. So the ninth region division is used for anatomical studies, and the quadrant are more commonly used by clinicians for describing the site of abdominopelvic pain, tumors or other abnormality. So these are the four quadrants, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So इसमें भी एक horizontal line है, एक vertical line है. So the right upper quadrant is this, left upper quadrant, right lower quadrant and left lower quadrant. So this is about basic anatomical terminology. We have seen about body positions and different regional names. We have learnt about what are planes, what are the different planes that are used to understand the body structures, what are sections, and we have also seen about body cavities. We have seen about the division of abdominopelvic cavity into 9 regions and that is 4 different quadrants. This is about the anatomical terminology that the clinicians or the researchers or the healthcare professionals usually use in order to describe different organs of the body or any abnormality, or in the diagnosis process, or also in research process. In all these things, these kind of terminologies are used. Hope you all understood. Thank you.